welcome in Dynasty Dilemma, first of the season. Dan, if you're new here, I'm Blake. This is Dan. We are two Dynasty nerds, fantasy football nerds. We're specifically talking Dynasty on this channel for the most part, and especially today. It's pretty odd. Like, if you consume content anywhere, you're hearing people in your ear saying, buy this young, awesome player that did amazing, Ibuka, Fannon, all these guys. That's obvious. We all know that these guys are amazing. How to buy them is the real question. And is it the time actually to buy them, right? Timing the market is so important in Dynasty. We will get into that as this goes. We will talk about our thoughts and give you actionable advice. We actually have trades that we've made in legitimate, big money leagues. I've made a ton that I can reference when we're talking about players and give you real advice. We're not going to send you away with a buy or a sell. Like that, in my opinion, is not helpful at all. And we're going to, just get into the things that people are not talking about enough about these players and what to do with them. And so Dan, you were talking about, before the stream, we were talking about buying players on the way up. It can just feel uncomfortable for everyone, right? You had the whole offseason to buy that player at a cheaper price, and especially when you like them, or actually, especially if you didn't like them, but now you are interested again. It can just be annoying either way. How do you deal with that, buying players after 1 week?
Yeah, it's tough. Like my instinct and knee-jerk reaction is to just not even try. Like once, week one happens and this rookie has a big game and okay, clearly now he's a player on the way up, and kind of my instinct is I don't even want to try to trade for him because everyone knows he's this hot commodity. Certainly the manager who owns him knows that. So I hate it because I'm going into the negotiation where the other manager has all the leverage. He's kind of has the higher ground. He has the hot asset that he knows I want. And so that's just not a great position to be in. But at the same time, there can be a lot of value in still buying a player on the way up if we still think they're going to continue going in that direction. So I think, don't let that always get in the way. And there are possibilities. I mean, certainly if you're willing to tear down from someone where now you're offering the best player in the deal, but buy this player on the way up, I think that can be a way around it. But yeah, I think it's something that I have to not talk myself out of at least trying, because if you don't, you could just see a trade complete and it's oh man, that's all this hot young player cost. So never assume anything.
We've seen it so many times. People in leagues with me will certainly have seen that from me this week. As far as I've been buying a lot of these hot players. Again, we're gonna get into these really quick, but never assume anything. That's what I've learned. I tend to do that as well, where again we all do. It's this guy's not gonna sell Buka. There's a price. Trust me, there's always a price. The key, and again, when we get to these players, is what is too much? When can you maybe play that week to week game? And there's a way about going where you can get what you want while still giving up a lot, but being satisfied, and that's kind of the key to, honestly, and key to Dynasty when buying these guys high. Again, so going to be a lot of good examples. I wanted to go over that first, but we got to talk and start about Harold Fannin, your boy, who you were going to do the bold prediction on, but I mean, you even still mentioned it. We got to count that.
It was still an unofficial bonus bold prediction. So I'm still, come on, you got to give me credit for that one.
Absolutely. So
So basically, the bold prediction was that Harold Fannin finishes as a top 12 tight end. And I didn't know exactly how that was going to happen. Well, I mean, actually, I guess my theory really is that he's basically going to be the Brown slot receiver. I think that's basically what happened. I mean, I didn't look advanced all the snaps and everything, but I didn't think Njoku would take this big of a hit. We can talk about whether that's a fluke or not. But I wasn't expecting basically a historic game from Fannon. First game out.
Yeah, I mean, no one was expecting that. That was a literal historic game. By the way, before we get into the conversation, Nahal, welcome back. I remember him from some previous streams. He's asking if Goddard doesn't play, which I didn't even know. I guess he's banged up. Who would you play, Juwan, Fannon, or Henry? I love Henry, but I would just ride the hot hand and Fannon and try to get see if you get that week 2 breakout from what he did week 1. I'd ride the hot hand there.
Yeah, I think you ride Fannon. But yeah, Juwan Johnson's another player that we'll discuss that got an absurd number of targets. Yeah. And actually, I think he was someone we mentioned in a recent stream where we were talking about cheap production to buy. I'm pretty sure we mentioned Juwan Johnson there. So that was good to see that pay off.
Yeah, all good options. I would just go with the young, fun guy. I want to have some fun, too, when there's not a clear answer. I think Fannon's the answer there. But I wouldn't blame you for going another direction if you lean.
All solid options there.
Yeah, so let's talk about Fannon. This I think is awesome because I actually just bought a Fannon today, and I think it's some really good advice of how to get a player like him. So before we jump into that, let's just talk about, let's just start with what do you think his price is, right? It is very, very difficult to get a number one from owner to owner. It's always going to be different.
Yeah.
There's always a price. I think that's very important. I know that they'll say he's untradeable. Like, dude, if you just throw, you throw a player, I think that's the key. If you can throw a player that's better than Fannon in, clearly.
Yeah.
Or, this is how I traded for Fannon, is if you get a player just as hot and trendy as Fannon, that's how you get them. I think that's the key to figuring out how valuable they are, too. You can even put the manager on the spot and ask them, what do you think? You put them on the spot, ask them what they think the difference is between this player and that. You can get an answer and kind of back them into a corner, and make them kind of hold. They have now told you what you want to know.
Before you even send an offer, you can just ask them. How would you compare the value of Harold Fannin and JCM? And don't even imply that you think JCM's worth more, or you think Fannon's worth more. No, don't ask it in a very neutral manner and just see what they answer. Once they give you that information, then you basically kind of have them into a corner where now you can send a trade offer around that, and they that fits in with what they just said, and then they either have to accept your offer or contradict what they just said, and no one really likes to look like a hypocrite.
Yeah, exactly. You can put them on the spot right away. It's a fun trick. It's not like some slimy thing. It's they're literally just answering your question.
Yes.
And it's helpful to get a trade done, right? I mean, if they're talking to you, they probably want to get a trade done as well. So that is a tip going to all players, not, of course, Fannon, but it's really helpful on these really trendy players that we're going to be talking about. And so...
Yeah, and just to answer your question in terms of, you said, what is Fannon worth right now? It is so difficult to gauge that because he's this young player. I mean, he was usually taken 3rd or 4th round in rookie drafts, which is hard to believe now. He's really surged in value. And so, it's hard to know how high to shoot him up, especially since, he just had this big historic game. And so it's how quickly do you just shoot him up the rankings? But I did receive a trade offer today in the listener league. It was from Chase. And I mean, basically he offered me a 26 first, probably projected mid to late, for Fannon in a 3rd. So, and then I would also get Jalen Royals kicked in addition to the first. So, I mean, basically, if you just kind of cancel out, the 3rd and Royals, I mean, basically, he was offering me a 26 first for Fannon. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And I thought it was appropriate, too. I mean, that's because here's the thing. If I'm not getting offered a first for Fannon, am I really that inspired to move off of him? I mean, I don't know.
That's
maybe.
Yeah, if I'm let's put that out there. If I'm out there right now, I basically want that first. I want a really trendy player. I want an overpay. I am not moving off unless I get a clear overpay. You just do not want to get off these guys too quick. Again, if you get that overpay, if you deem that to be enough, that's going to vary on who you like. I think that's just important to say. You need to have some comfort when you deal him away for him to go up. What I think is really important, though, I have not heard this mentioned. I'll mention it right now before we get into anything else. Is the dilemma around Fannon right now, and I find it very interesting. Is there's so much at play here of what can happen these few, honestly, just week to week basis. You have David Njoku, who could become a hot trade target. You have Joe Flacco, who could be benched at any moment for a rookie quarterback that probably is not very good. And you have, again, the whole, Fannon himself, who, what happens if he puts up 3 catches next week? Or what happens if he puts up 10, right? Like,
Right.
it's are people. That's what I'm interested in. Or I think he's gonna have some good grace to put up a couple like dud-ish weeks where there's just not 7 catches. That's like irresponsible to think he's gonna keep going and gaining on that. But it's also a possibility, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think of Puka Nacua. I mean, we remember that first game he had, what was it, like 18 targets and like 13 catches or, something ridiculous like that. And it was just like, God, what do you do with this? And I'm sure there were plenty of people that like sold Puka Nacua for a single first round pick right after that week one. And they regretted that because I mean, what do you have to spend now to get Puka Nacua? 3 firsts, like minimum basically, or the equivalent. So that's the thing about Fannon is like, a 26 first sounds amazing to cash out on a player I got in like the 3rd or 4th round, but at the same time, especially in like a tight end premium league, and that's typically what we're talking about here. I mean, I don't know what should we call like the standard, like when we're just generally giving advice, like a 0.75 tight end premium or a 0.5, but.
Yeah, we'll call it 0.75, I guess it is. But yeah, I mean, I'll talk. In my league, it was like 2 PPR. We can, I guess, if we had a real trade, like that one's a 0.75. You got that offer in. That's important to know.
Exactly. So, I mean, I don't know if you get that in, a non-tight end premium league. You probably wouldn't, but I certainly think in a higher tight end premium, like 0.75 or higher, I'm probably not feeling very compelled to move Fannon unless I'm getting at least a first and or alternatively, if someone's offering me like, I don't know, JCM and maybe a compelling pick of some kind or some kind of nice package where I'm getting a similar hot player and something on top.
You get a hot player and a second or something like that. That it could be certainly very interesting. You have that leverage when you own Fannon. Now, I guess like let's just jump into I guess how I acquired him. We've mentioned JCM for.
Well, I mean, let's first ask this: is now the time to acquire Harold Fannin in the first place? Like, if we're playing the market here, is this the time to buy, or would you rather roll the dice and that he goes like you were saying, 3 catches for 30 yards next week, and then all of a sudden now I can get him for like a second plus, and hey, that sounds a lot better than giving up a first for him. So is now the time?
Super important. This is something that I'm going from league to league, and I'm checking each manager. And I'm going to let those managers determine for me, right? All these teams are going to be different. I have a different budget of what I can afford to overpay, quote unquote overpay for like a Fannon. And I'm going to just, test the waters, see where they're at. I'm going to kind of test them and give them some really solid offers. And if it's not working, if it's uncomfortable, I have to give up that mid to late first personally, I'm waiting. I am waiting. I'm taking the risk. I have Fannon exposure. If you have 0 and you're really panicking, I won't blame you if you want to send that like true contender first and you really, really think that this is the moment you have to get in. I'm personally waiting. Dan, what about you?
I think now is the time to buy Fannon, potentially. And so what I mean by that is now is the time to send out offers and see where each manager is at. Because we don't know what's going to happen next week. If the price is too high, if you actually have to pay that first and you already have some other Fannon shares where you kind of feel like maybe you take that gamble then because you don't want to pay that first, because that's a whole other conversation we were talking about recently. But we're definitely believers in just acquiring as many firsts as possible, not giving them up easily. So, but I think it's worth inquiring, and see, is there a way you can get Fannon without giving that first? We like to call it a fake first around here. So you get that fake first, and what we mean by that is you patch some things together, you combine some things to kind of get the combined value of a first, but you're not actually giving a first round pick.
Yeah, you're taking a chance if you're giving up that fake first as well. He could, again, if he just puts up a dud and Flacco's benched, he legitimately could lower while still being a huge gainer from the start of the season, right? So it's going to depend. It's buy within reason, and the good thing about sending those offers I've found in the past, especially if you do it week 1, the fun part is if you can't get a deal done, he puts up a dud week or even somehow 2 in a row. Whenever you come back in the future, that manager is going to be able to see that conversation, remember what was on the table, and they're going to be like, damn, I messed up. They're going to start feeling like this, I don't know, regret. Hopefully it's not too negative where they're sticking it out. Like, I gotta get him back to this price. But they also
Right.
might panic sell, and especially if you're matching that price and the narrative on that player has really lowered. If you're offering that similar price because you believe whatever it is,
Right.
you've set a bar already, and you can work
Yeah.
off that. So I think that's really important to.
Yeah, because like let's say you offer kind of the fake first, where you offer them like a second and maybe some kind of like semi-compelling player. Like I'm trying to think of a good example, maybe like a Cedric Tillman type, or I don't know, that might be too good. We love Tillman around here as well, but someone like that, maybe like a second and like someone who's worth like a early third or something like that. And let's say they turn it down and like they're insisting on the first. Okay, I guess we won't make a deal. Like that's fine. But then Harold Fannin goes and puts up 3 for 30 next week, and maybe now you send them back that same offer. So like rather than playing games of
I would start back if you had a bad game, like we were about to say. I wouldn't start with that offer. I'd start lower,
Okay.
and then you give them
Work up to it. Okay.
I said
Yeah.
that last time, and then they're happy to get that offer back. That is
Yeah,
so
and then once
important.
they negotiate it back to that point, now they're just thinking, "Oh man, I better just like take this and run."
Exactly. They got the free week to see if he broke out.
Yeah.
It's again, they could be beneficial for them still. They get what you were originally offering. They got to hold that week. I think it's very important to have that conversation with the manager right now.
Yeah.
Even if you can't pull it off. By the way, Nahal asked another question we missed. He says,
Yeah.
since we're talking about tight ends, where do we think Tyler Warren finishes? He's got him tight end 3 to tight end 5. I have a hard time arguing outside of tight end 3 or tight end 5 again. He also broke the record. They tied with Fannon.
Right.
And yeah, he didn't even score a touchdown. It was awesome. Yeah, they did flood the Miami Dolphins. That also meant they ran the ball a million times and did not have any passes. So I certainly do think he's a tight end 3 to 5 rest of the season until proven otherwise.
Yeah, I was gonna say just offhand on vibes like tight end 4. I mean, I feel like he's gonna be like right in there if he stays healthy.
I'd say tight end 3. Kittle's out.
Hey, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
You had to one up me, but yeah, we love Tyler Warren though. So yeah, he's definitely going to be an elite tight end. It just felt like that. And I usually don't believe a lot in like the rookies tight ends like producing right away, but it just felt different this year with Tyler Warren. And God, we're seeing it more now, even with Harold Fannin. I didn't think it'd be this quick, so it's good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we talked about this market timing thing. I think it's completely fine, especially if you have shares to wait on Fan. I think it's very important. I'm happy to overpay and get that fake first in, like, and be very aggressive, especially on teams that can afford it. I want to get shares. I want to get exposed, but I am a little bit worried. Again, just throw it there. The Flacco benching. I mean, that's going to hurt every single person in that offense. Again, we're playing Dynasty. If my teams can afford that, I'm okay doing that, especially if I have a team that maybe is not contending. I hate sending picks away on that for players and stuff like that, but again, if it makes sense, if you're comfortable spending those assets, you're ultimately the judge of that. Yeah.
So buy him for a fake first, and then what about if you own Fannin and you have people knocking down your door, sending you offers?
So,
what does he cost? Like, how are you approaching that, and what do you need to sell him?
That's exactly what I was gonna mention because you got the offer the first. I'm actually surprised you got a first offer. I mean, it is a 0.75 premium.
Yeah.
Unless that is like literally the best team created, and I know you're gonna have fan exposure, I would take that deal and I would take that first. I would then go buy him in another league without a first. That is how I'm playing that. So I would have instant accepted that. I don't know if that deal is still there or not.
No, because then you accepted a trade for the very first. You moved Pierce off for that first, so then it was off the table.
That's it, because I saw your message, but I didn't actually end up looking at the players in it, so I wasn't sure if it was that one or not. But I don't know if it was another first. I would take that first, and I would go find a way to get him in another league, or I would wait that week. I know you're gonna have exposure as well. Would be my advice. Or my
are you not? I mean, I understand the genius of that. It's very savvy because you just bank the first there, and then you get them for fake first in another league. Love that process, but like, are you not scared at all about him just turning into like the Puka Nacua tight ends, and like you just like
again
you realize like how low you were selling that, like how much higher you could rise in value.
Again, I mean, especially with as I said, if it's not an ultra team first, I mean that first is. It got just as much chance to raise in value. It could end up as the 104, and you think it's mid to late.
Mhm.
It could do anything as well. Same as
Right.
Harold Fannin. It also cannot get hurt. It cannot have Joe Flacco benched,
Yeah.
as well. All that stuff. So it's not relying on any of that stuff, which is awesome. And I mean, uh, sorry,
But what if
the
you
I, you,
what if you were like relying on Fanning? Because I mean, I know you
yeah.
probably weren't going into the season thinking like Fann's going to be a
So
starter and contending lineup. But what if you have like Worthy injured or
yeah,
Brock Bowers or like whatever, and now all of a sudden Fann's a starter for you, and
yeah.
you're just cashing out for a first? Are you then going to still make that deal, but then go to look buying some cheap production to make up for it, or?
Yeah, so what I was gonna also mention was that you're highly exposed. You're just hedging, but at a very good cost, by the way. So you already have a bunch of fan exposure. I'm hoping he turns into the next Buchanuga when I trade him away.
Right, right.
I'm
That's
hoping that. I
true.
want that. I'm not worried
Yeah,
about that happening. And again, I'm
yeah,
trying to go buy him in another league. So that's
yeah.
completely fine. I'm not worried about that at all. I am hoping it
Okay.
happens.
Yeah.
But that's in the deal. You have the leverage. Do not forget that. Send a counter. Get that first for Fannon and see what
Mhm.
player he has. Does he have Calvin Ridley on his bench? Does he have someone that had
Right.
maybe a stinker week or had a low key week? Get that guy. Why
Mhm.
not include in the trade? You have a chance to knock two birds out with one stone.
Yeah. Cool. That
Yeah.
sounds good. I mean, should we move on to the next player
Yeah,
here?
yeah, I think we covered that pretty well, but very necessary for Harold Fannin.
Yeah, and let's just stick with the Browns and let's just like quickly cover Dylan Sampson and Cedric Tillman. I mean, maybe not too quickly on Sampson because this is another guy that was in my bold predictions. And basically, I said he's going to be the next Bucky Irving. So I know Judkins has officially signed with the Browns, and he could start to be worked in at some point in the near future. But still, you got to be encouraged by what you saw from Sampson. I mean, he didn't do a lot on the ground, but I mean, through the air, I mean, looking at his stats here, and let's see, Dylan Sampson, yeah, 8 catches on 8 targets for 64 yards. I mean, talk about a PPR scam. Like that's going to get the job done. So really encouraging to see the performances from these Browns here. Yeah, what do you think about Dylan Sampson after that performance? Is now the time to buy him?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go to Michael Hart in the in the chat real quick. He just
Yeah.
says, "Hey, what's up?" Yeah, he's been a
Hey,
viewer of the channel, and he says he picked up
great.
Fannon on the waivers, and he had McBride. That is awesome that you did that because I did the exact same thing in the league where I had McBride, and I
Yeah.
might even start Fannon over some good players in my flex and in my redraft league as well. So that is awesome. I would try to get him in the
Yeah, like
lineup if
never get
possible.
stuck in. I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, wait, I have a tight end, so I'm not even gonna like. Oh, I don't need Fannin
Yeah,
then." But like, if you think
but
he's gonna be good, like just pick him up, and then you could always
you can
trade
always trade McBride.
McBride or what? Yeah, whatever good tight end you have, and then just use Fannin as your
Yeah.
guy. So gives you a lot of different
Yeah,
options.
and Nahal adds in he dropped Samson for Thornton before the game, which sucks. But hey, man, I mean, hopefully you were scrapping back from on waivers
All right,
after.
let me give some very wise advice from, I mean, how many years I've been playing fantasy football? Like 25 years at this point. If there's one thing I've learned, last minute changes,
Yeah,
like right before a game kicks off, are never good. Whether they're start sit decisions, you make that last second change, or you suddenly like drop a player to, pick up some like, dart throw like Thornton. Like it's probably not going to work out. There's probably a reason why you had your lineup and your roster like the way it was in the first place. So don't give into the fear, the anxiety, the panic, like right as the game's about to start. Just keep it as it is.
yeah, wise words. Yeah. So Samson, back to him. I mean, awesome showing, right? Like your 8 targets, 8 catches, a -3 ADOT, which is like it sounds like a bad thing. It's a good
Right.
thing because he didn't even need to earn those targets. In fact, it was just given to him. There was
Yeah.
no. As long as he doesn't drop basically like a pitch is essentially what it is. It's those designed swing. It's essentially an extension of the run game, and
Yeah,
then
and also it goes to show like the yards after the catch was insane because
yeah,
like not only the 64 yards that he actually gained, but then those like -3 yards on average on each play where he also had to gain those back just to get to the line of scrimmage. So yeah, I mean he was definitely making some things happen once he got the ball in his hands.
yeah. I mean, like there was the 2 yards per carry. I'm not too worried about that. It's like
Yeah,
it is the Browns. We know that. Like honestly, a lot of if you just look across, like basically every running back sucked on the ground. Bijan,
yeah,
CMC, Gibbs, everyone stunk. They all
yeah.
had 2 yards per carry, 3 yards. So I'm not too worried about that. But what I am a little concerned about, if anything, about Samson, it was just that they actually chose to put Rocket Sanders in at the goal line. That certainly looks like it would cap the upside, assuming that's going to be Judkins in there when he
Right.
returns. So, yeah, I mean, maybe not chances at the goal line, but he's an explosive player. He can get those big touchdowns regardless. He'll find his way in the end zone.
Yeah, and like, could Samson be the Jahmyr Gibbs and Judkins can be the David Montgomery? I mean, I'm sure some people will like scoff at that comparison. And I'm not saying like the talent levels are the same and that's a perfect comparison, but just in terms of the role. And I also mentioned that specifically because as a Lions fan, I know, especially like last season, I mean, it was like a very even split on the goal line between Gibbs and Montgomery. I mean, it seemed like each of them scored a touchdown like every game because they had such a great offense, but they really shared that equally. And Samson scored a lot of touchdowns in college, so I wouldn't rule out like him getting some goal line carries here and there.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like at some point, he's going to. It just, I guess we were hoping. I don't know. That Rocker Sanders, I guess, was not getting it. Like,
Right.
I guess that's something to take away. By the way, we have Billy Bishop. I don't believe we've seen him in here, so welcome.
Yeah, welcome to the channel.
I guess it doesn't really matter if it's a redraft or dynasty question. By the way, if you have redraft questions, throw them in. We will answer them. He says half PPR, very important. Fannon, Bill, or Calvin Ridley in his flex. That is a very tough one.
Yeah. I haven't looked too much at the schedule in week 2, so I don't know if we want to bring that up real quick.
Bill plays the Packers, a very, very difficult matchup. Like as we mentioned, Gibbs was inefficient on the ground. Monty didn't do much, and we know about the Parsons addition. They were an awesome defense in week 1. As I'm sure Dan will know, he watched the game as a Lions fan. So it's a Thursday night game. There's always the Thursday night curse, whether that's it's not a real thing, but.
Yeah.
Thursday night players.
For whatever reason, like I actually have a good feeling about JCM this week on Thursday night. Like I don't know why, because I usually avoid the Thursday night game. So I'm not saying necessarily he's the best choice here, but it is one of those situations where like if you think he's gonna do well and you don't start him on Thursday and you're watching the game, like you're gonna be miserable. Yeah. So like if that's a tiebreaker, I really don't hate throwing JCM in there, but in a vacuum, I think I would lean Fannon slightly.
Yeah, I mean that's so. I am super tough. Again, I'm trying to remember who Ridley plays this week. It is.
I can look it up.
Yeah,
I'll look it up.
Look up who he plays. I don't think it's the easiest matchup. Again, I know Ridley had a really bad game. It was Cam Ward's first game. I'm still starting Ridley with confidence. And especially in a half PPR where he can break off that big play, get that big catch. I mean he just fits that archetype of half PPR fully.
And he's playing the Rams, so I mean, like that seems like a fine matchup. I mean, I could see some points scored in that game, so viable option.
Yeah, I mean, half PPR. I'm just gonna personally rule out the Fannon, though. I think that could be an awesome play too.
Oh, that's right. I kind of forgot about the half PPR a little bit, but gosh, that does make it closer. Gosh, maybe you could talk me into JCM then. I do kind of have a good feeling about it, even though I hate Thursday games.
This is my advice: if you want to have fun on Thursday, you don't have anyone else playing, just start JCM. It's also about having fun, and I mean, dude, like you're gonna feel like an idiot if you didn't start him.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'd lean that way. Here's another thing people don't think about a lot. What if like you bench JCM and then between the game and Sunday, let's say like one of your starters gets injured and it's like, oh man, like if I knew that I would have started JCM and now I got to start this like lesser player or whatever. So maybe tiebreaker in that situation goes to JCM and a half PPR.
Yeah, tough matchup, but I hope that helps. Honestly, it's kind of one of those ones. Go with your heart about that Thursday night game, or your confidence in Ridley. So we were talking. Samson. Wheels up for Samson. I'm starting him in these deep dynasty leagues. If you're in a redraft league and you had an injury, especially if it's full PPR, I think you just throw him in there and just trust the process. Judkins isn't going to be playing.
But is now the time to buy Samson? Like, are you sending out offers trying to get him? And if so, like, what are you offering?
Yeah, he's a really tough one for me. He's one of those true. We need to talk about Ricky Pearsall at one point, and it fits in that same realm. I'm pretty lost, to be honest. I'm going to lean a little bit more on you on this one.
Okay.
There's a lot of good stuff. Judkins is coming back, though there might be a suspension. There's a lot up in the air, right?
Yeah.
Again, the Flacco thing. As soon as Flacco goes, those 8 targets, are they cut it into 3? Like, what is going on? I mean, we know Joe Flacco's like that, 50 pass attempt a game merchant. He loves the flats. So I am pretty lost. I'm going to lean a little bit on this, on you for this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna simplify it. I like to overthink a lot of things in my life, and I'm learning as I get older not to like overthink everything. And I think I've started doing a pretty good job in this with fantasy. And when I see a player produce like Samson did, or whomever it was, like Fannon, whatever hot player from week one, more often than not, I'm just going to believe it. Like you can always come up with reasons of like why it's not going to last, why it was an outlier, a fluke, like whatever. But like generally speaking, like when someone shows you that they can play, they're good at football, they can produce stats, fantasy points on NFL level, I'm just going to tend to believe it. So I'm not going to worry too much about all the details, like about all these scenarios and like okay, the quarterback changes and Judkins coming back, like. I just think Samson's good at football, and he's going to find a way. The cream rises to the top. So if I can buy him for, let's say like a mid to late projected second, plus like a, very small throw-in, something that I don't really care about, like, Alec Pierce, although I love, like, I don't know if he's going to do anything with like Daniel Jones as his QB, although who knows, like that could always change. But, someone like that, someone who's worth like a late third or a fourth or something I just got to like throw in that I don't care about. Yeah, I'm doing that all day.
Yeah, I agree. I think I was already, his price was like that second, as long as it's not basically a guaranteed early one. I'd be willing to throw in like some Christian Kirk player that wasn't hurt, or that was hurt, and I think he will be good. But if you don't need him, and you want to take that shot on Samson, I think that's completely fine.
Again, and maybe you get something kicked back. Like if you're offering like a second and Christian Kirk, maybe you get Dylan Sampson and a fourth, something like that. Like that sounds really good to me.
Yeah, exactly. I think you get creative. Again, he's on the Browns. All those timing things that we mentioned about Fannon can translate right back to Samson, and then he even has the whole Judkins thing. So yeah, don't overthink it. If you like him, I mean, I don't. The Samson hype is not on the level of the Harold Fannin hype. That is very important to
exactly.
Note.
I mean, what's nice is that you can get a really like young hot player, and you don't even have to worry about like, oh, how do I do this without signing a first? Like, I mean, you're just going like right to a second. You know what I mean? And I mean, I wouldn't get too cute and try to give like a fake second. I mean, you could try, but I think probably a second needs to be involved after what he did. Just throw in a little something, and yeah, just believe. Like, don't overthink it.
Yeah, let's quickly talk about Njoku and Tillman. I'm the big Njoku guy, so I'll start us off on that one.
Yeah, we need to hear from you first.
Yeah, the Fannon, record-breaking form is not in the plan for me with all my Njoku shares. Again, I have them in these like 2 PPR, and especially these 0.75s. That's my favorite, formats to be getting them in Dynasty. If you're in redraft, like, dude, that's not good. Like in redraft, like thankfully, I don't have them anywhere in those like half PPR like weird leagues, or like Dynasty leagues, like that. So yeah, I mean that's not good. Hopefully you picked up Fannon or something if that's the case, and I don't know what you do.
Yeah, and spend your fab on Fannon. Like if he's available on waiver wires, like in your redraft leagues. I mean,
they already ran.
You know your league and like your league mates and like how aggressive they're going to be, but I don't think it'd be crazy just to kind of like blow the load to get him if you need him.
Yeah, I mean he's already gone in everyone's waiver wire now, but if he was
that's right, because both waivers went through last night, I guess. So
magically he was there because it's shallow league. Just take a shot on him and drop him later.
Actually, I think a lot of waivers are still going through tonight. I mean, like in my home league, they don't go through till tonight. But yeah,
gotcha, the standard whatever for all these leagues, unless you change it, is last night. Njoku. Look, the massive target share, the things we've seen in the last 2 years, especially with Flacco, the ceiling is lowered, the floor slightly lowered. Again, they still got him screens, and he's still going to earn his targets. So Njoku doesn't feel as good. He went from being what felt like a massive value, especially for the early season, to just being, you kind of are probably going to get what you paid for unless he gets traded, and I can't even speculate on that, right? So.
Yeah, and could he be like this year's Mark Andrews? And I'm not saying that Fannon is like the Isaiah Likely, who was just kind of a flash in the pan for a week. Although we still really like Isaiah Likely in the long term here. But I could see Njoku finding a way to climb in value. So I would even like hate buying low on him, especially in like a tight end premium league. Can I get Njoku for like a fake second, something like that? Like I'd be willing to buy low on him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I would absolutely. I mean, I have so much that it's going to be so hard for me to like even find a league to buy him in basically. Right. But I would 100% be open to buying him. Right. Again, there's many different situations that can happen to him. Again, Fannon is not just a tight end. He's playing the slot. He's playing all these weird stuff. David Njoku still was out there for like 84% of snaps, so still really like him. I just think the bet from week 1 is just not there anymore. It's just a slightly different bet now. That upside's capped, and then Tillman has been a favorite for us.
Oh yeah.
And, I mean, basically, I don't know if I said there was one time where we were talking about getting these players where it's like, oh my god, why did we not have 100% of this guy? This is one with Fannon. I had to keep reminding myself
Tillman.
Yeah, sorry, Tillman. How good he was, the wide receiver 1 across a month, and just nothing has happened since then. Just trust it. He has Joe Flacco. He's a good player. The tape bros love him, and luckily, I got him still in like a third of my leagues, so I'm very happy about that. And
you pay like a Samson kind of price for Tillman at this point. Would you give a late second and a throw-in?
I would. Again, I'm all those timing things. It's such a weird team with the Browns. All those questions are there. If you need Tillman, I'm paying that price. If you don't have him, it is still a little bit sketchy, right? Because he's one of those players that if you own him, you still actually might not be able to throw him in your lineup depending on your format, how strong your team is. I'm still having some troubles getting him into all my lineups. So I'm being a little bit careful. Again, knowing all this Flacco stuff, I mean, he could be awesome and dead at the same time for fantasy if Flacco is sat.
Yeah. But he's another guy that I'm not overthinking. I'm happy to own a bunch of shares of him in Dynasty, and I haven't gotten any trade offers for him yet, but like if someone came knocking, I mean, I guess I'd be open to it, but I don't anticipate anyone's going to be willing to like pay a price for Tillman right now that is, in as much as I value him. So I don't think now would be the time to sell high on him. I think people need to see it for another like week or two before you really start getting compelling prices. But like, I mean, it's been off for 2 seconds. I mean, I guess I could talk myself into it, but like, it might be another situation where like I need to find a way to get a first for him.
I'm buying.
You might have to add to Tillman.
Yeah. I'm buying from non-believers, and I don't expect any believer to come in for me like just this week. So I'm gonna go see if there's any non-believers. I know that you and I will own him in like every league that we're in together, but I think he's a guy.
Do the thing where like you're making the other manager believe that like, oh, you're selling high on this fluke or whatever and cashing out, but he still doesn't even realize like what he has yet. So I'm doing that.
I think a lot of managers might just sell to you, check the price, and maybe ask them what they think Tillman's worth. I think he's worth.
I mean, again, we talked about it earlier. That is the perfect way to go about it. Just message them. Don't even send an offer. Don't look too anxious. Just say, hey, how do you value Tillman, in terms of picks, and see what they say.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that covers all the Brown stuff. There's so much stuff with.
Oh yeah, I mean there was a reason we started with it. There was a lot of meat on the bone there.
We won't even get into Judkins because we don't know. We don't have enough information. Let's move on to JCM, who we talked a little bit about how I traded him. By the way, let me just mention that Fannon trade. I never even told anyone what my deal was. I traded in a 2-point per reception tight end league. I traded JCM for Fannon, but I had to sacrifice Zach Ertz, who's really useful in that formation, a starter in start 11 format, and I got a third back, which, you could say, oh, it's Zach Ertz, but we were not selling him for like a third and a fourth when we were offered that. He's just the production's more valuable, so I thought that was a really fun trade. 2 ascending players, and then I even gave him a tight end back for cheap relative to the league. So that I thought that was a really fun deal to get creative and give something to get something.
And it sounds like you just value Fannon a little more than JCM long term. I mean, obviously running backs have a shorter shelf life, and also JCM's kind of on the older side anyways at like 24. I believe Fannon's a couple years younger than that. So is that kind of your thinking, Blake?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, look, the JCM, I'm just happy to cash, and I'm happy to cash early as long as I'm getting a dude like Fannon, where I think the ceiling is
a hot player that's hard to acquire.
Exactly. So, do I know that that's going to work out? I have no idea. I'm hoping for the best.
But with JCM, I mean, he gets 10 carries, 82 yards, 8.2 a carry. He had that 42-yard touchdown run. He looked great out there. I mean, no one's shocked here. I mean, we expected him to basically be like the early down running back. Looks like, he didn't get any targets, so he wasn't active in the passing game. I guess he had one target.
He did get one target. I mean, that's my biggest question for JCM. Can he, with Eckler there, can he carve out a role? I mean, if he can get like 3 targets a game, I'm probably pretty happy. Again, those snaps come up. We will see. I think he's capable enough to get that, just like somewhat of a role. Eckler is a big dent in that true upside for him. Eckler's, he's been getting hurt. If we just play the trends of the last season, maybe we see him get banged up again, and there's some upside there for that true workhorse. Or again, if we're thinking dynasty, maybe Eckler leaves next season and JCM gets a chance. That's way too far to even begin thinking about, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I'm thinking about right now is it's kind of a pivotal time for JCM because he plays on Thursday Night Football tomorrow. Everyone's going to be watching that game. If he looks good on that game, good luck trying to get him at that point. So if you have any hopes of acquiring any last JCM shares in Dynasty, the next, not even 24 hours is the time to do it. So what are you doing, Blake? I mean, you've traded away some JCM. It sounds like you're more selling him and kind of cashing out. Is there any scenario in which you'd be buying him right now?
Yeah,
or trying to send out offers?
Yeah, I mean, I just haven't. So I would like to say yes. That's where my reaction goes. I'd be interested, but I'm not doing that. So I've been throwing out offers, and I did one where I bought Chase Brown for basically the guaranteed 201 or 202, and I had to add JCM to that 201 or 202 to get Chase Brown, and I got Booty thrown in. So.
Yeah, who we'll talk about later.
Yeah, and I did give up a fourth in that as well, kind of for Booty or whatever.
Whatever. Yeah.
So I did sell him there. I sold him for Fannon, and it's just one where when I'm playing Dynasty, the ceiling is only so high. So as long as I'm getting something that I think is worth enough to deal him away in, and it's this up tier or again lateral move to Fannon, I'm selling. If someone is offering me, I don't know, what's a really, Pittman, again, we know how good he's been, but he's just such a boring name, as good of a player as he is in real life and has been in fantasy. If someone's, trying to offer me Pittman for him, again, it's tough because we just saw that 1 week for Pittman, people are starting to get interested in. I think that's a fun one that might be kind of on the same level.
All right, well, let's see where the line is. Okay, Pittman in a third. You want that for JCM?
Ooh. I'll lean the hype train on Bill.
Okay. Hey, I'll make it Pittman in a second, but you gotta give me Pittman in a third. You gotta kick me a third.
Ooh. Yeah, if those are assuming it's kind of the
same.
Okay,
make it a fourth, and we have a deal.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take Pittman in a second at that point. Yeah.
Okay, so that's about where the line is. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, dude, some people won't want to touch Pittman at all. I actually,
but just for the sake, in case people out there, certain ones don't like Pittman, how are you valuing Pittman in that equation? Kind of as worth a late second, early third kind of range, or
mid-second easily, dude.
After
that game, people actually were coming to me for Pittman, and I actually got him in a deal, and the dude wanted him. So I think people are at least turning the tide. Again, he played with a broken back. That's a whole other story.
So basically, you're willing to cash out for essentially 2 seconds. You're willing to cash out on JCM
if I can get that fake first, which to me, that Pittman and the second, if I'm just throwing that fourth out the window, I don't care about that. That to me feels like a fake first right now at this very second.
Yeah, a good receiver and a second. Yeah,
I think that's completely fine. Again, we've seen players in that JCM thing. It's harder to get past that late first. It could be a late first plus for his value, true ceiling. He's on awesome offense against that pass catching is limited. So I am completely willing to sell him. There's so many good running backs in Dynasty, and they get hurt all the time. They're replaced. So I'm a believer that you can sell them. I'm a believer you can buy for the right price, especially if you need them. What do you think, Dan? What's the line for you? Are you also buying or are you selling?
I mean, my inclination is that because he's playing in this game tomorrow, if I want to get any other shares, I kind of feel like I got to do it now. Yeah. So that kind of makes me more in a buying mindset. But I mean, I don't think your process is wrong in terms of just the way we generally view running backs, and especially an older one. I mean, as exciting and hot as JCM is, he can only be worth so much. I mean, at most it's going to be kind of that contenders first, and then maybe some kind of fun throw in or whatever. But it's hard. There's really no scenario in which he's ever going to be worth 2 firsts or whatever. And then I mean, could he ever develop into a pass catcher where he could be more of that a stud producer, even if he's not worth a ton or whatever. I mean, who knows? I wouldn't write it off, but I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing if I could just get a couple, 1 or 2 more cheap shares just to kind of see if someone wants to cash out. Just because I know, things can change a lot when someone plays on a national game, and also if he has a big game on Thursday and everyone sees it, maybe that's like the true like ceiling or peak that you can then sell him. You can like immediately flip him. Like maybe you buy him tonight and then he has the big game tomorrow and you like immediately flip him for more. So that's kind of where my head goes.
Yeah, if you have confidence, that's I think a thing to say right now. If you have confidence he's gonna do well,
Yeah.
then forget anything I said about or what we're saying about selling him. Just actually, you can go buy him, hold him, wait for that game if you have that confidence, and then sell him, assuming you're right in that. Yeah, he literally plays tomorrow. It's very difficult to talk about a player like that in that Thursday night game one night before because we're about to get that answer.
Right.
I'm not too afraid to sell, even with the big game. That's just how I'm willing to play it. And I also, guess what, with my selling, like, it needs to serve a purpose to my team. That is, I need to be getting a hot player. I need to be making my lineup better or cashing out at a very good price. I'm not just trading him to just trade him off for something. I need something that benefits me.
Right. And even also, like, if you're buying him, I mean, unless you're just planning on, like, immediately flipping him, there should probably be, like, some purpose in it. Unless you're getting, like, such a good deal. I mean, if he's not going into your lineup right away, you might want to ask yourself, like, what is the exact reason that I'm buying him right now? So if you plan on flipping him and you think you can, and it's an active league, like, then that's a good reason. But to answer your question directly, I think kind of like the price that appeals to me is, can I give a second that, isn't guaranteed to be early, plus like kind of like a fake second. I think I'd be willing to do that. And I mean, it still feels steep for a running back that's like 24 and everything, but like I still think all things considered, that'd be a pretty attractive price right now.
Yeah, exactly. One thing that comes to mind too is how can you get off a player that's been perceived more valuable than him, but maybe had a bad week and you're worried about? One that comes to mind is K9, a guy that I loved this whole offseason.
Right.
I have no idea what to do with him as well. We should talk about that Seahawks backfield. Yeah. Again, there was the foot injury stuff. So if you're out on K9, can you get anything on top of JCM it's at least like somewhat notable? Maybe it's like a fun rookie like Alec Ayaman or something, and you get JCM. I don't know. Like, it's gonna really, really be depending on the manager, depending on your league.
I mean, I hope it's better than just like basically a straight swap at this point. I mean, I would think that you could get like JCM in a second. Maybe you have to give like Kenneth Walker in a third, something like that. Like, I think I'd be open to it. I mean, it makes me a little nervous, like over, just kind of potentially over 1 week, but it is concerning seeing how involved Charbonnet is. And so I'm not sure it would be overreacting. So yeah, let's talk about the Seahawks running backs though.
Yeah, exactly. Let's actually quickly just go to the chat. Michael Hart says he picked up Fannon in the second round of his waivers after grabbing Justin Herbert because obviously he had injured Purdy. And then Nahal says,
I mean, Herbert was awesome. I mean, you got to feel good if you got Herbert in redraft or any format right now.
Yeah, exactly. And then Nahal says, will we pick up, it says Junter, but I'm assuming that's like Travis Hunter, or, I mean, correct us if we're wrong, or Odunze. So it must be like kind of like shallow. It's a half PPR. That's a tough one. I mean, Odunze had a good game. I guess it was saved by that last drive, like 1 yard touchdown. But I mean, look, like, I don't love DJ Moore, and it was kind of just the DJ Moore and Odunze show. The Vikings are a tough matchup. That's a really tough one for me. I just think over the course of the season, I mean, they're just both really good players. I've been a big Hunter guy, but it is half PPR, so I think that actually would tilt me just a hair to Odunze. Just a hair. Because of the format.
And the Bears do play the Lions next week, and not to trash my Lions too much, but I don't know, just historically, they have a history of like young players like having their first like big breakout game like against the Lions. Like, I've just seen it countless times. So just that alone makes me want to say Odunze in here. But yeah, I love both receivers. I got to think there's someone else you can cut and pick up both of them. But if not, I think I'd lean Odunze.
Yeah, exactly. So assuming you can't do that, just for the format, it's a hair to Odunze. And then was it Naked goes in here?
Or Nick.
Or Nick's. Yeah, haven't seen you here, so welcome.
Yeah.
Says, picked up Fannon when he had Njoku. I don't have Njoku, but I picked him up in leagues where we had Tyler Warren. So I love just going ahead and just grabbing him. I don't care if he's on the same team. Love that. He says he's concerned There's not that concerned about the target problem with Njoku. Because yeah, he was still on the field a ton. Again, if you weren't here when we're talking about Fannon, again, I think the ceiling case for Njoku is concerning, but I'm not afraid to have both these guys. I have them on almost all my dynasty rosters. I actually just like have both of them that I own Fannon on. So I'm really just like not concerned, especially in dynasty. But yeah, I mean they're kind of just playing two completely different positions. Just think of Fannon as like this weird wildcat receiver. Just like, I mean they called him like the queen on the chessboard. So yeah, it's not like he's necessarily like killing Fannon and taking Njoku off the field. So I like just having them both, even if it's not what you drew up at the start of the season. And Nahul comes in, says, can he get our opinion on the trade he made earlier in the chat? So we missed that.
Look at it. Let's see, can you find that, Blake?
Okay, I see it. He said, thoughts on this trade? Half PPR. Chase Brown and Addison for Garrett Wilson and Ibuka.
Chase Brown and Addison for Garrett Wilson and Ibuka. And this is redraft, I'm assuming?
Yeah, half PPR. I mean, there's so much going on there, right? Like, you got Addison who's suspended. It's half PPR. You got Ibuka ascending. I mean, Chase Brown's clearly the best player in the deal in a half PPR. Ooh.
And that's a tough one. I mean, I think team need could come into play because obviously on the one side you have a running back and receiver. The other side you have two wide receivers. So if you can afford to lose the running back, I'm trying to think, like, would I be willing to do that? Like if I had like a really great depth of running back and I had like two other like awesome starters that I could lose Chase Brown just to get, Buka share. Like we know Garrett Wilson is awesome. And he had a good week one, which is encouraging for this season because I think a lot of people were concerned about him. But I do think Addison will be really good once he's back. He's only going to be missing 2 more games, so
he's a great.
I think that's like a typical redraft league where it's like pretty shallow and like good players on waivers. Maybe it's only like 10 teams, like start 7 offensive players, something like that. Maybe I'd lean toward the running back side in a format like that. But if it's like deeper, like if you're starting like 9 offensive players, I could see and you have the running back depth, I could see going the other way, but. Yeah, probably stick with Chase Brown, or I don't know which side you currently have, but I think I like the running back side.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's very hard to replace a Chase Brown unless you have the best waiver priority and you're in that shallow and just the perfect guy, the perfect injury happens. It's very hard to replace Chase Brown. There are going to be a lot of ascending receivers coming off your waivers, especially if it is a little shallow as well.
Yeah, because like in those shallow leagues, like wide receivers are just like dime a dozen. Like when you have the short benches and you can only start like 2 of them the flex each week. Like you're gonna be having like all these awesome receivers on waivers. You're gonna have all these good ones on your bench. Exactly. Like just take the running back.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the best thing. If it's a stranger deep league, like then I think you could talk yourself for sure into Ibuka and Garrett Wilson because they're awesome. But
even then, like you're gonna have like 2 other stud running backs that you feel great about, and
you need to be.
That's pretty unlikely. So I think we can pretty safely say, outside of unusual circumstance, like you're probably just taking Chase Brown there.
Yes, absolutely. And then Nick said loved Hunter this year. Yeah, I mean I completely agree. I'm a huge Hunter guy, which is why it's tough for me to say. But again, I got to go back to like redraft brain, and like week 2 brain. To just slightly lean Odudze over Hunter there. But yeah, I mean, dude, out of the slot, love Hunter. Completely agree with that. And then we also got a couple more comments saying, yeah, he picked up Herbert too. That was Nahal because Purdy got injured. So that's
I mean, if you have Purdy, like you couldn't be happier to be able to pick up Justin Herbert on waivers. So that's awesome. And then Nahal also says. Talking about the trade, we were just talking about with Chase Brown. He said, my reasoning was I have Garrett Wilson as my wide receiver 14 rest of the season. Hey, he's got rankings. I like it. Pretty close to Chase Brown, and I have Ibuka way over Addison.
Yeah, I mean, like, if that makes, like, again, it's so hard to know without seeing your team, without seeing your
Well, he just says he has Bijan, Travion Henderson, and Tootin. So that is a pretty good running back room. So I don't know. Could this fall into that kind of unusual circumstance, Blake, or are you still just taking Chase Brown?
Ooh, that man, yeah. Again, like it's just hard to know without the start. Like
Yeah,
like I can, dude. I 100% agree about like the ranking stuff about
yeah.
Ukabuka and Garrett Wilson, but like I'm just thinking from like my leagues, like I would
Mhm.
lean the Chase Brown one. Just like again, I don't know if it's the same league because I have a bunch of receivers on my bench already,
Right.
and I would love to trade one of those guys for Chase
Yeah,
Brown.
no, let us know like how many offensive players you have to start each week, and like let us know if it's like a deep bench or shallow, and like how many
Yeah,
teams are in the league. If you
yeah.
let us know that, like we can give you like probably a pretty definitive
Yeah,
answer.
I mean, it sounds like you already did the trade based off, but I guess let
Okay,
us
so
know.
which side did he get?
It sounds like you
Oh,
got
it
the
sounds
Garrett
like you
Wilson
probably got
league.
the two receivers. Okay,
Exactly.
yeah, I mean I don't think it's like a bad deal,
I
especially
think,
if you kind of running back depth. So
yeah, I mean, I literally think you might have just got like the two like more valuable player side in a nutshell. But again, like
yeah,
I am
but
trying
that's not
to
the only thing that matters in a
exactly,
shallow redraft league. As weird as that sounds, yeah,
exactly, yeah, which is very important.
yeah.
And I guess we can resume our players. The Seahawks backfield is where we left off.
Yeah, so Charbonnet had a much bigger role than any of us expected because I was kind of thinking he was just going to be like a glorified handcuff, maybe like a little bit of a handcuff plus, but like I didn't
Yep.
think he was someone that you're even remotely thinking of starting when Walker is healthy. But he definitely had a role. I'm pulling up his stats right now so we can get the details of that. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, he had like 10
is this a
carries.
situation with Kenneth Walker where you're just kind of like trying to get off the sinking ship in Dynasty, Blake?
Yeah, this is a very very difficult one. I have not sending out offers out with K9. Luckily, I actually have Charbonnet on two of the three teams that I have K9 because I love just getting both of them. In
Yeah.
especially because like you're not hoping or assuming that this would happen, but if this happened, there's not really a way to lose. Like in your lineup points for a few weeks here, maybe you are losing, but as we get an answer of maybe one playing over the other, you can certainly be happy. Like you're not really losing anything. Also, again, for dynasty purposes, K9 is an awesome running back. He will go on to sign another contract and have a
Yeah.
good chance to start. So that is one of my biggest reasons for not wanting to sell K9 right now and wanting to hold it out. That I just
Yeah,
think
but
he's
I mean, what concerns me here is that they both got a similar number of carries. I mean,
yeah.
Zach Charbonnet, 12 carries, 47 yards, and a touchdown. Maybe that's significant. Like, could he be the goal line back now? And then Kenneth Walker, 10 carries, just two less, 20 yards. He wasn't as efficient, no touchdowns. And then let's see, through the air, Kenneth Walker did get 3 targets, caught all of them, but only for 4 yards. Yeah, oddly, Charbonnet
Yeah,
didn't
didn't
have
have
any
any.
targets or catches, which is weird because you think of him as more of the pass
Yeah,
catcher.
I'm not gonna look
So,
too much into that. I just think
yeah,
they
but
literally rotated drive for drive, basically in
yeah.
this context.
Okay, so I mean, is that the worst nightmare then? If you're a dynasty owner that owns both the Seahawks running backs, is that they just like split it and you don't feel amazing about starting either? Like,
For week two, it's a nightmare because you're not gonna know what to do. Going over these weeks, like on through the season, I
yeah,
highly doubt it's gonna be a 1-for-1 swap. I think someone's gonna take the wheel. Someone might get injured, banged up. I just don't think I think it's very unlikely that it just stays 50-50. Whether it's 60-40, 65-35. The one interesting thing about K9 that is also you can tell yourself copium, whatever it is. Again, he had that practice thing. Charbonnet was getting all the reps. I'm not like too sold on that, but it is at least a potential reason to explain why Charbonnet might have came out there, got the hot. But I just think Charbonnet's really, really good. That's what I'm concerned about. That like, I don't blame the Seahawks for doing the 50-50 split. I think it's a good idea for NFL terms. So I don't have an exact answer. I think the answer is if you sell K9, go to the JCM, go to the Harold Fannin owner. I mean, hey, throw him in a deal for Ibuka. Throw him on that
yeah,
ascending player. That's my favorite way to get off a guy. That if you're
yeah.
unsure, if they're on their way down, like I want to make sure I'm
Uh,
getting something that I know I'm confident in.
yeah.
So that would be my trade advice on
And you
that.
just kind of like get credit for maybe not quite what they were worth a week ago, but maybe you get like 80-90% of it, or somewhere in there, even like 75%, whatever that number is that you're comfortable with. Also, just wanted to mention, I just saw a moment ago, we had like we had up to 20 people in here like watching this live. So thank
Yep.
you everyone for joining us. Like that's amazing. Definitely hit the like, it helps us a lot, and subscribe if you're new. And we also have Chris Trevino in the chat here. Welcome. He says Harold Fannin or Mark Andrews. So I'm assuming you mean for redraft. What do
Dude,
you think, Blake?
Harold, dude, I'm riding the hot hand. Throwing Harold in there. I mean, dude,
Yeah.
Mark Andrews is like one of the most last 2 seasons, the most frustrating fans. But I'm okay if Mark Andrews outscores Fannon.
Yeah.
I'm throwing him in there. I'm sure you agree, Dan.
Yeah, I think I'm just kind of going with the excitement of Fannin at this point. Actually, I didn't even really see what Andrew's stat
Nothing.
line ended up being.
Nothing.
Like he did
Yeah, like
nothing.
2
Okay,
points.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I'm definitely. Oh yeah, I'm easily going Fannin then. I mean, I thought Andrews would do a little better. Not panicking on Andrews, but I'm just going to ride the hot hand and Fannin.
Absolutely.
And then also we got some more detailed information from Nahal about. He gave us his full roster here, so that's amazing. Okay. So his team is Justin Herbert, Caleb Williams, Tyler Warren at tight end, running backs Bijan, Henderson, Tootin, and his receivers are Ladd, Garrett Wilson, Ibuka, Dunze, Hunter Worthy, so and down. So amazing wide receiver depth. If it's a shallow league, I mean, I probably would have said like the receiver side, but
I would have leaned Chase, knowing like seeing that is an insane receiver room. I know that there are some question marks with the young guys and where the injury. But I'm trusting the receiver room. But, I mean, if you already made the trade, again, you got 2 really good players, so I think that's just fine.
Yeah.
So,
and then we got Cooper in the chat. Wait, is this Hawkeyes or a different Cooper?
This is Hawk. We missed one. He said, okay, this is interesting because we haven't talked about ETN or Tootin. We should get them after the Seahawks backfield. He says, would you guys trade ETN and Wilson for A.J. Brown and Pearsall? He doesn't want to make the deal, but countered JSN and A.J. Brown for ETN and Odunze, which feels insulting, but he's scared of A.J. Brown. And he answers my question, which is redraft. So, redraft. Let's look to the one that he said first, the deal here. So he said ETN and Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I'm sure.
For A.J. Brown and Pearsall.
I mean, that makes me a little nervous. I mean, I can see the inclination to try to like buy low on A.J. Brown, but if he was like so bad in that game, and not just from a stats perspective, but from like a separation perspective, because I think Blake, you had mentioned something about that recently off camera or whatever. But if that's going to be like some lingering hamstring issue where he's just not himself, that makes me nervous. Like rest of the season, or certainly for the next few weeks at a minimum. And then Pearsall, like it could be a little complicated once Ayuk comes back because there are only going to be 2 relevant 49ers receivers at any time. I know Jennings is banged up, but I mean he could come back healthy at any time, I'm assuming. So I think I'm inclined to just hold ETN and Wilson. Wait, is this Dynasty or what?
No, redraft. He said at the end.
Redraft.
So
okay.
I'm with you. I'm going ETN and I'm going Wilson. I'm going with the healthy player. I'm just gonna overreact to the AJ Brown thing with the injury. I don't. Especially if you're 0-1, I mean, like, dude, just go get the 2 guys that had a great week. Pearsall, I expect great things for the next, coming weeks. I would trade A.J. Brown in that deal in a heartbeat, and I own him in a league. So, that would be my advice as an A.J. Brown.
And so what about this counter here?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's JSN. Yeah, you're getting JSN and A.J. Brown for, ETN and Odunze. I mean, unless the guy thinks ETN's like a top 5 running back, like, I mean, it's like definitely like a not realistic offer, especially JSN's going to be a really hot name. But, I would just keep your ETN Wilson side, and I guess it's fine if you're going to ask him to overpay. I wouldn't really want A.J. Brown right now in week 2, so...
Yeah, but if you're getting JSN, I mean, he had a monster game. I think that'd be... Yeah, if he'll do that, sure.
Yeah, if he'll do it. 100%.
Yeah, so it doesn't hurt to ask. Doesn't hurt.
Yeah, and then he says, full PPR, double flex, 2 RB, 2 wide receiver league, has Pearsall, A.J. Brown, JSN, Bucky, Harvey, and is that Justin Jefferson? Hampton? So, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I guess that's the league he was asking about. I see.
Okay.
Wait.
Yeah, full PPR, double flex. I don't think that changes the equation here too much. I think it's more just about, like, do we believe in these players? Are they healthy?
Yeah.
It's hot. I think
stick by everything.
Yeah. You just kind of want the hot, healthy players at this point and redraft.
100%. We have... this me 313 new to the channel, so welcome.
Yeah. Hey, 313 Detroit area code, so that's where I'm from. Yeah, shout out Detroit in the house.
says, would you trade Brian Thomas Jr., big name, and Scatabo for Odunze, Etienne, and Bill in Dynasty? We have a Dynasty question. So, wow, okay, let's think about, wow.
Yeah, I mean, Brian Thomas is another guy, so maybe we should just get into the Jaguars here, because we're talking about Etienne, Brian Thomas.
That's right.
Yeah, not a good game from Brian Thomas. I'm a little nervous about it. I mean, I did hear this like narrative just randomly in the offseason. It was just like a random like sleeper comment, but it made me think. It was basically saying that like Trevor Lawrence doesn't like throwing like downfield, and that's why like Ingram and Christian Kirk were always like good for fantasy, and that's why like Brian Thomas was better with Mac Jones. So I don't know how much truth there is into that, but it made me think. And then sure enough, like week 1, healthy Trevor Lawrence, Brian Thomas has a dud. I mean, the Jags weren't amazing in general. I mean, it's not like, I mean, other than ETN, like who really like went off for them or whatever. So I don't know if we can take too much from it. And I still think Brian Thomas is a stud as a talent. But what do you think, Blake?
I wouldn't put too much into it. It could be a concern. I'm not going to believe that just yet. And also Brian Thomas with Trevor Lawrence, I recall from last year from owning Brian Thomas in even half PPR, was the wide receiver 4 through the midseason. So Trevor Lawrence got him there one way or another. I'm not actually worried. And he is Cohen. Terrible game by Lawrence if you go look at those Brian Thomas ones. 4 uncatchable balls past the line of scrimmage. So there could be some concern. I'm not overreacting as a Brian Thomas owner just yet.
And also, just for context, I mean, Blake, you actually made me an offer for Brian Thomas in the Listener League. You offered Pearsall a 26 first and 2 seconds, I think both in 26. And yeah, I wasn't crazy about it. So even though I'm a little nervous about Brian Thomas, like ultimately, when it was put in front of me, I still believe in Brian Thomas. So I declined that, even in a start 11 dynasty.
Yeah, so like I'm not worried about that game, but Scatabo, really like him, and think he could be a good buy low before he gets rolling in the season. Right. Tracy had a bad game. Odunze, again, had a good game. A lot of it did come on that like last garbage time while the Vikings are just trying to keep him out of the end zone for as long as possible. And then ETN, but it wasn't a bad game at all. It was an inspiring game if you were an Odunze owner. ETN, big gainer. Bill, big gainer. My easy answer is I am going Brian Thomas and Scatabo. Easy, pretty much regardless of any format, any scoring settings. There's some interesting stuff on that other side for sure. It's not enough for Brian Thomas, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it would have to be a very specific circumstance where, I don't know, maybe it's like a high buy-in league and you really like want to win some money this year and you're thin at running back and Bill and ETN are going to go like right in your starting lineup and maybe something like that you could justify it and then just hope that the gap between Odunze and Brian Thomas, from an overall dynasty perspective, like doesn't end up being like that great. I could see kind of how you could talk yourself into it in that circumstance, but generally I think I would just hang on to Brian Thomas there.
Yeah, he actually did tell us 12 team. It's like start 9. Okay.
Kind of on the shallower side for dynasty.
Yes, I don't know, start 9 and 10, whatever. It's not a start 11. That's important.
Yeah, so it's not deep. It's not too deep.
It's not deep. I'm definitely keeping Brian Thomas, but the deal. Here's what I'll say about anytime anyone asks a question. The deal at hand, I certainly see any interest in that Odunze side. The difference, if you are on that Odunze ETN Bill side, that maybe you like it, is very close, is like go to whatever. I don't like calculators or anything, but think in your head what the actual difference in that deal is in value right now, and find something on their roster that makes up for that value. And if you were already wanting to do that, the difference in your head might be a first, or in a lot of people's head, or maybe you add a first back that you're receiving, and you give up a player with like a late second or second itself, whatever it is. If you're leaning that side, that's how you get that deal done.
Counter, because if the other manager really wants Brian Thomas, they're probably not going to decline it if you just like add a second to that, because it's still a pretty decent deal on Brian Thomas. So that might be a circumstance to like get a little greedy. And if the guy leaves the table, like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, again, if you're going to decline that, get greedy. Send him a counter of what Brian Thomas's actual value is in that deal, and get something that you would like. And if he doesn't like it, that's fine. You can hold him. So I think that really covers that. He did add his only running backs are Kamara and Scataba, which is kind of what you mentioned. So that's tough.
There has to be another way you can buy a running back cheap. Like,
that's
James Conner on a rebuild or something like that. Can you pay a couple thirds for James Conner, something like that.
Yeah, I had just kind of a friend in a league, just a random guy. I'd actually not even really a friend, but it's a guy I've talked to a few times in a league, asking me, and he was gonna trade like Olave for ETN, and I said, dude, just withdraw that offer. You can find a way better deal for running back. It's out there, whether it's ETN or not. Do not give up like a really, I mean, talented player. In my opinion, Olave. There's always a better way. I just don't think giving up Brian Thomas is what you need to do for running back. But again, I'm not in the league, so I can't say for sure.
Yeah, and we got Seb in the chat here. He's cutting right to the chase. He just says, "Is Harold Fannin worth a first?" That's all I need to know. So definitely check out our conversation earlier. But what's the short answer? Yes or no, Blake? Is he worth a first?
This is the best part. This is the short answer. If you own him, he's worth a first. If you don't own him, he's not worth a first.
Yeah, if you don't own him, he's worth a fake first.
Yeah. So that's the easiest way to sum that up, and that's how you should be playing Dynasty with these Harold Fannons of the world.
I
agree.
Greatest
advice we can give.
Yeah, and then Nahal says, do you guys think Justin Herbert is a plug-and-play every week start, or should I consider streaming? And it's 4 points per passing touchdown. Yeah. The 4 point per passing touchdown does make it a little more interesting, but I think I'm inclined to just believe in Justin Herbert until I'm proven wrong.
Yeah, that's I don't believe he's a plug-and-play guy, but I'm gonna believe it until I have reason not to.
Until we're wrong. Yeah, until he shows that the Chargers run 35 times in a game and Herbert's throwing for 20 times, and then I'll adjust. But until then,
start him. Yeah, until you're disappointed, and keep an eye on these other quarterbacks. That's I think all that needs to be said on that.
And then he says, how do you guys think Ibuka is going to do when all the wide receivers are healthy? That's another great question.
We need to get into those rookies, yes.
Yeah, so should we talk about Ibuka and just kind of cover the rookies here a little bit?
Yeah, let's just start with Ibuka here. I have completed a trade for Ibuka, by the way, so we will get into that, which is exciting because I don't think there was many going out there. So I think that's really good information how I got him. But yeah, that is, again, like we were talking about the whole Harold Fannin, the Samson, there's so much stuff going on there. It's the same thing for Ibuka. Here's what I'm not concerned for Ibuka being awesome. It's just my initial reaction with these receivers. What I am concerned about is him turning into what we know he can turn into, is Justin Jefferson's rookie year, all that stuff. So I do think just automatically you have those awesome receivers that will come back at some point. I'm concerned about it, but you never know. Maybe Mike Evans gets hurt, whatever it is. I'm not thinking about it too much, but it's in the back of my mind. What do you think, Dan?
It is a tough one. I guess I have a little more concern from a redraft perspective. If you're really counting on this guy to be a stud for you week in, week out for the rest of the season, I think it could get a little messy there. But at the same time, I think kind of the same logic I was using on Dylan Sampson earlier. I'm just not overthinking it. I mean, he just comes out, first NFL game ever, 2 big touchdowns, looks awesome. And that's coming after all the hype we've gotten all off season, which was just insane. So I'm just bought in. I'm not going to overthink it. Godwin and Evans are still old. They could get re-injured, or Evans could get injured, or a lot of different things could happen. I'm just believing in Ibuka for the most part, and especially in Dynasty. So I'm really not too concerned about it.
Yeah, redraft again. It's harder to make these redraft trades because you have way less flexibility. I'm not going to worry about too much in redraft, but if it's this
especially shallow redraft, because we saw, what was it, Nahal's wide receiver core. I mean, a lot of people's wide receiver rooms look like that in these shallow redraft leagues. So even if Ibuka fades back a little bit once Godwin comes back, okay, then you just start, you put Worthy in your lineup, or you put Addison in there, just you got so many guys.
Yeah, exactly. The question is going to be when he continues to ascend, if he does, and he gets to a value, is I think when he gets higher and higher and the demand's very high, that's a real question. And that's probably something that we can check back in on in week 6 or whatever before Godwin comes back in. That's more when I'm worrying about that. I think it's a very easy answer. Just don't worry right now.
Yeah.
Dynasty, the one thing about timing the market is, again, it's just the Harold Fannin thing all over again. It's he has a clear things that can lower his value, lower his points, but there's this weird, we don't know exactly when it is. There's a weird gap right now where he's going to be awesome. He's going to keep ascending. He's going to play awesome. And it's what do you do? Do you buy him now while he's going to be good? Or do you like wait until Godwin and those guys come back and then try to buy him lower? But like, what if he played really good before Godwin comes back? Does it matter if like? So it's a very difficult question for Dynasty in that sense. I say just it's the same thing we said about Fannon. Just try to buy him now, get a set price. I think my rule right now is I'm not going and I'm not paying 2 first. I am very stingy about first, not because I'm trying to scam people. That's not what that is. It is very hard to win deals and like benefit your team in the long term if you're just letting first rip, right? Especially when they don't have a number associated to them. There's a lot of things that can happen. If it's a player, a young, talented receiver worth a first, I'm very, very hesitant. I don't want to send that back without getting something back. So, say if it was first and Addison or a first and, I mean, hell, dude. Golden didn't have a good game. I know this is insane to even say, but like if it was like a first and like a Golden, Addison, anywhere in there, I'm not doing that. I'm waiting, and I'm playing the anti-Ibuka game in that league, and I'm hoping there's a window. Dan, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's probably smart. I mean, we talked about this a lot off stream recently because it seems like it's kind of a common theme in your offers. And I think the conversation between us started when you sent that offer for Brian Thomas. And I'm kind of thinking like, well, man, like, I mean, I kind of feel like Brian Thomas is worth around like 3 firsts. Like, okay, maybe you ding him a little because he had a bad week 1 or whatever. But still, like Pearsall is kind of like a fake first. And then like 2 seconds is basically a fake first. And then you really only offered me like 1 actual first for Brian Thomas. So it's like, so I was kind of saying like, hey, like, it doesn't seem like the greatest offer in the world. I could see how it makes some sense in a start 11. And then it led to this conversation. So I do think you're onto something. I do think that's a smart way to go about things. So yeah, but if you can get a Buka for basically what you did, and maybe we can get into it now, basically a real first and a fake first, I think that makes a lot of sense. And that makes me comfortable buying a Buka for that price.
Yeah, that's the key. I think it's going to be very, very difficult knowing Godwin and all that stuff's going to happen for Ibuka to truly get into that untouchable 3 first, which is like just really like there's that definition it's hard to even define, but it's the best receivers. It's the top 3 or 4 receivers for me. It's not. It doesn't even extend to the full first round of Dynasty. The quote unquote 3 first value. It is not 12 players long for me personally, and so I am, not willing to do that 2 first thing. But when you can get that quote unquote fake first, in this case it's Scatabo and that random like whatever it is mid second or a Tootin in a second kind of thing. Look, if you can get that thing that might equal up to a first in a few weeks from now because it's an ascending rookie, that's the way to do it. 100% a first, or if you just replace that first with, say, it's Golden, or again Addison, Pearsall, whatever these players are, all so many flowers, a lot of guys in there. I think that's how you acquire them. There's a very, very fine line. If you are gonna ever give up those 2 first, you need something intriguing back. Maybe it's like you get Bill back.
Yeah, and just real quick, we got Anthony W in the chat. Welcome to the channel. He said, I received an offer early 26 second for Fannon, Superflex, tight end premium, 12-team league. And he says, I think I accept. What do you think, Blake?
Okay.
So dynasty question here. He owns Harold Fannin. It's Superflex, tight end premium, 12 teams. And would you take the early 26 second for Fannon?
So yeah, right before you got. Well, we had a detailed discussion. If you do want to go back there later or now after we answer this.
Yeah, we talked about right at the start of the stream.
Yeah, exactly. A couple minutes in, so definitely listen to that before making any trade, number one. But we'll quickly answer that. I think right before you also joined, we had another kind of question about that. Is Harold Fannin worth a first? Which is almost what you're asking here in this offer.
Yeah.
And our short answer is if you own him, he's worth a first. If you don't, he's worth that early first. So we're trying to buy for that early second. It's a smart offer from that manager. We don't have the tight end premium. We'll assume it's in the middle, that 0.75 or 0.5. It doesn't really matter. Let's be honest. It's close enough for this conversation.
Yeah.
I'm leaning on just hold Fannon, and hope he has another good game. He was way too good of stuff. The early second for me, you're just hoping you draft Fannon, or you're hoping to trade that in the draft season for a player like Fannon right now, and odds are you probably aren't going to be able to do that. I think is the my assumption right now. So if you can get a first, I think that's like you can go ahead, especially with other shares, you can trade them. Yeah.
Yeah, so Blake, you would officially counter for the first, and if the manager doesn't want to do that, then you're just going to hold Fannon. Like you wouldn't be willing to settle for like the early second plus like a Michael Pittman or something like that.
Yeah, I mean that gets, because that's the Bill one. Like, and I like Fannon more than Bill, so especially tight end premium, obviously. So that gets a little sketchy with Pittman. That like,
borderline.
Yeah, I mean,
that's kind of a judgment call, but I would try to insist on the first because I mean Fannon is not a player I'm dying to get off my roster. So like someone's really got to come with something good. So counter with the 26 first, and I would just hold firm there.
Yeah, exactly. It does sound like you're a little intrigued with the accept thing. So to me, that's an easy. If you get the first, do it. If not, I would personally bet against. If you're are believing.
Yeah, if you're going to accept anyways, at least try to get like a Michael Pittman or someone worth like a late second or early third thrown in, and at least get a little extra if you feel compelled to take that anyways.
Yeah, our advice would be don't accept that offer. Counter.
Counter at least with a 26 first, or if not, if you're more anxious to get a deal done, at least add something compelling like a late second, early third type.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Michael hits us with, does he start May this week against Putrid Miami, or Herbert against Las Vegas? Wow, I'm gonna go with Herbert. The hot hand. Las Vegas just got lit up, or not lit up, but sorry, lit up by Keyshawn Booty.
Yeah,
and they also have a terrible secondary. So yeah, it could not be the greatest game script. I'm just gonna roll with the hot hand. Again, I want May to earn his spot in my lineup. Again, is that gonna be the right decision? I wish I had the answer. I'm just rolling with the hot hand.
Just ride Herbert. Make May earn his way into your starting lineup. And then Anthony clarifies. He says, "Yeah, I got him as an undrafted rookie draft pickup."
Yeah, I mean, that is awesome. I guess if you got him in there, that kind of tells us, it doesn't say much, like, that you might be able to think. That kind of does tell us a bit about your league. So, I'm definitely pushing for that first.
Exactly. That sounds like more of a casual league where you can, I hate to say take advantage of someone, but hold out for that 26 first. And honestly, I don't even think that's taking advantage of someone.
We're not trading him for that regardless. Like the early second. So it's not taking, it's just what we think he's worth. And I'm not settling in your league, Anthony, for that.
Hold out for that first, 100%.
Yeah, it's tight end premium. Yeah, you say you got Kraft. So regardless if you got Kraft or anything, if you sell them, regardless, you got a profit, but you've hit big time, of course, on Fannon.
Yeah, so. And if it is a tight end premium league, which I believe you mentioned, you can start both those guys each week. You can put one of them in your flex. So I wouldn't worry about like, I have too many tight ends. Like you want a lot of tight ends.
Let me throw this out here, Anthony. Hopefully it's you that owns Ibuka. But again, if there is an Ibuka, Tet, Henderson, whatever your favorite awesome rookie is, and you do want to get off of Fannon and instantly profit, I would go to those awesome rookies and just go down the list and try to trade for those guys.
What do you have to add to Fannon to get one of those studs?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and he does mention that he also has Hawkinson, Theo Johnson, as well as Kraft as his other tight end. But I like having a lot of tight ends in a tight end premium. So that's no problem at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Really hope that.
So back to Ibuka, just to finish that conversation really quick. I agree with you. Like if I can buy him for a first and a fake first, so your exact offer, Blake, it was basically a 26 first, and I believe it was projected like mid to late, basically.
Yeah, mid to late, second, and Scatabo.
Yeah, second and Scatabo. So I think that's perfect. Like I would buy Ibuka pretty much like just about everywhere if I could do that. I mean, you might have to pay some league dues, so make sure be aware that if you move your 26 first, like know if you have to pay your league dues, because like that that sometimes has an impact on like whether you're able to do something or not. So be aware of that. But if that's not an issue, I'd pay that for Ibuka every time.
That's a good reminder. I gotta go with my hundo in. Completely forgot about that. I think that's just all we really need to say on Ibuka. Honestly, to me, the same rule still applies on Hunter and Tet, and I absolutely love them. I think we can just like move on to these guys quickly. I love them. They were both like fingertips so close away from massive touchdowns. Tet was like, dude, I mean, if you just go look anywhere too of like the Panthers fans, like It's always awesome to see like other people's perspective. Like they are like thanking the GM and like they're like, dude, this guy is like the best draft pick we've ever made, and it's been one game. And I know that it's like he's on their team, but like fans can be pessimistic, really easy too. And he's gonna be a great fantasy receiver. I know the Bryce Young struggles were there. I'm just trusting it, dude. He almost had an awesome game in his first career game. I am trying to buy Tet if he's available. But again, I'm very careful with my first, in my league. So I'm trying to get creative. I'm trying to, again, you should probably have to add more than that first Scatabo and a second, whatever that fake first is. I mean, dude, if I got to add another second in there to get to Tet, I'm doing it. So, do what feels comfortable. If you are interested in getting Tet, I'm doing that for Tet. I'm doing that for Hunter. I'm doing that for Henderson. I want to get those guys right now before they actually get those touchdowns and those big plays converted.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because they'll be like as hard to get as Ibuka, or I don't know. I mean, like I don't know exactly how the market is kind of ranking those receivers. I don't know if you have a thought, Blake. It kind of feels like they're all in the same tier at this point, but it still does seem like Ibuka's the hottest name because not only the hype this offseason, but then week one coming out with the 2 touchdowns. So it could be. I think Hunter and Tet could be a lot easier to acquire. So now is probably a great time to see if you can get them for that kind of Ibuka type of price that we were talking about, a first and a fake first.
Yeah, like I still think Ibuka is the cheapest, but he's the hardest to get, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, I think that is just a good way to talk about all those rookies. If you believe in Hampton as well, I'm a little more hesitant on him. I won't even really go into that. It's just, I think he's awesome running back. But I think those other guys are a little bit more attainable. Just a slight bit. So
and then Michael Hart asks, he has to start 2 in a PPR league: Tet, Ibuka, Devonta Smith, Ricky Pearsall. Yeah, I can see why you're asking that question. Yeah, not an easy choice there. What do you think, Blake? I mean, Devonta Smith had a disappointing game.
I hate to sit Smith. I'm actually gonna make sure it's the first one I'm sitting is Smith. He's awesome. These other guys are so awesome.
I mean, you got to bench somebody. So, I guess Smith by default there, and I guess bench Pearsall.
I mean, Pearsall, like, that's a really tough one because Pearsall, like, it is wheels up. If Jennings is out, I'm probably inclined to actually.
And Kittle's out. Kittle's
Kittle's already out, so I'm probably getting Pearsall in that somehow, some way for this specific week, and I'm picking my favorite rookie of those two. And honestly, even if Jennings is playing, I'm probably just still going Pearsall. Again, it's just. Like if you drafted Pearsall, you're in there. Kittle's out. Like it's just a perfect storm for Kittle for Pearsall week 2. Pick your favorite rookie, and then again you'll get those rookies in for the rest of the weeks. I might start both of the rookies too. I think it's better advice to put Pearsall in.
Okay, but let's give him a definitive answer. Tet or Ibuka, which one are you starting if it's only one?
Oh, I don't know what the matchups are.
Yeah, I'll look at them right now.
Yeah, you gotta get his matchups.
Yeah, pull up week 2 here.
Yeah. He says no Purdy this week, which, I was gonna mention that. We did see...
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
We did see Mac Jones, though, absolutely feed and, get Travis or Brian Thomas the ball. It's kind of reminiscent. Pearsall's the only dude there. I'm not worried about the CMC. He's gonna rack in a bunch of targets, but it's he's not running routes as a receiver to steal them, so... Yeah, I mean, if you trust Mac Jones, that's your answer. If you trust Mac Jones, put him in. If you don't, sit Pearsall.
And Pearsall is playing at the Saints, and Pat McMillan is playing at the Cardinals. And then what was the other one again? Ibuka. Let's see. The Buccaneers are playing. Let's see, where are they? Buccaneers. Oh, playing at the Texans. So Ibuka at the Texans. Or Tet McMillan at the Cardinals.
Tet by a hair.
Pearsall at the Saints.
Yeah, I don't want to start something against that Texans defense. I heard Stingley did get potentially hurt, so I'll slight tie break on that. Again, don't feel like too confident in that. And then again, between Pearsall, do you believe in Mac Jones or not? That's your answer. Mm-hmm. We also
so Tet and Pearsall is what you're leaning here.
Tet and Pearsall, that's way too close of a one. Where it's like, dude, if you have a lean, like seriously, just go with that lean.
Yeah, go with your gut. Go with your gut.
That's
if you
mine.
have any kind of feeling. Yeah.
Again, so we did miss Yeet, who I feel like we've seen in here randomly a long time ago. So
Okay. Hey, welcome back to the channel.
Welcome back. If so, are we comfortable starting Scary Terry tomorrow against Packers defense, or Dylan? And over Dylan Samson and Keon Coleman. We got to talk about Keon Coleman at some point. If we could fit him in.
There's way too much to talk about. I mean, we might have to stream again tomorrow or something because, like, we didn't even want to go too long tonight. Like, we didn't know we'd have so many people watching. Like, thank you again. Subscribe if you haven't. It really helps us a lot. So, yeah, we might have to do another stream soon. But, yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to cover everybody.
Yeah, we'll try to get streaming as well tomorrow. So that if you're interested in that, we'll do that tomorrow.
Subscribe if you want to see us stream again tomorrow. That would help.
Let's do that before the Thursday night game if we can, Dan. And
that'd be fun. Yeah, we'll kind of do a little pre-game stream.
Yeah. So okay, let's answer this question now. Terry McLaurin against Packers defense, very tough matchup. They don't have the greatest, cornerbacks, at least that we know of yet, but it's a tough matchup regardless. Debo earned his targets, and yes, Terry, again, he was missing all of training camp. That's to note, and had a kind of a rough game, but...
I'll comment on this one first. My head is saying to bench him. My heart is saying to start Terry. Like, I don't know. I had the same feeling with JCM. Like, I generally don't like these Thursday games, but my gut, for whatever reason, I couldn't tell you why, is just telling me this could be a high-scoring game, even if it doesn't, like, make logical sense to me. So take that with a grain of salt. If you're risk-adverse, I would bench Terry McLaurin. But if you're willing to follow my gut and trust that, I could see Terry doing something.
Assuming this is redraft as well. Again, you spent a big pick on Terry. It's that sunk cost fallacy. I'm putting him in there. Especially, I don't know if it's half PPR, full PPR. I'm not gonna it's not gonna change it too much for me.
Yeah.
Again, Samson's a very intriguing play. That would be my play if you don't go Terry.
I agree.
You could miss so big on Scary Terry on Thursday night. Just hitting one play. So
all he needs,
Again, the factor of entertainment, watching and sweating Thursday is something to consider. So Terry's my answer. Is that also yours?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you could argue if you're like the heavy favorite and you just kind of need a high floor, maybe like Dylan Samson as the PPR scam makes a little more sense. But if the matchup is kind of close and could go either way, like just throw Terry in there.
Yeah. So I think that's a perfect way to answer it. He also says Matthew Golden or Jaden Reed tomorrow as well. I mean, hey, dude, let's pass this one to Seb here. He's the Packers fan. He already has answered it, and he says Jaden Reed. That's way too hard of an question for us to answer. Like, honestly, flip a coin. We don't have enough information, in my opinion, to answer that. So Jaden Reed scored a touchdown?
Yeah, I'll trust the Packers fan. I mean, Seb watches the games. Like, if Seb says Reed, like, I'm going to go with that.
Dude, absolutely. Trust the Packers fan there. You can blame him. We're not giving any blame. That's our Packers guy. He's giving you an answer. And Jaden Reed scored a touchdown. So... I mean that's I don't know.
Right, hot hand. Dude, I mean, like, we don't know. Some of these week one performances could be flukes, but we're just gonna kind of go with it. Ride the hot hand until we're proven wrong, and probably a lot of these cases, not all of them, but a lot.
Yeah, I feel for you. Like, I am sick to my stomach thinking about the possibilities of what could happen based on who you start in that game and what can happen on Thursday night. I wish you the best luck. Also, Michael Hart says, hey, make sure to subscribe, smash thumbs up. Appreciate that. Especially coming from Michael, who's been here a few times. So, again, glad to have you in here, Michael. That's awesome to see you.
Appreciate the support. And, this is awesome. Like, did not expect this many people to be watching tonight. So, I guess everyone's excited, with, week one just happening. And, no one's been eliminated from their playoffs yet. Has a lot of optimism here, so we'll hopefully help you get everybody in there.
That's right. Dan, do you want to keep going through these players as much as we can, and then just let me know when or you?
Yeah, I mean, do you want to do maybe one more? Is there one you're really dying to do, or if anyone in the chat really wants to hear about someone, we could do maybe one more player. But
we got Jake's backfield. Let's do Jake's backfield. If you guys got more questions, throw them in, and then we can finish out with those questions.
Yeah.
We've talked about this one off. This is one of the things we did talk about off stream. Dan, start us off. This Jags backfield, Tank's gone. I think we could probably both agree we're not too interested in Tank at all at the time being. With, I guess if Shipley's out, that's cool if he's the handcuff.
Yeah.
It's just it's messy out there, right? Even with a
Yeah, I mean, if you're a Barkley owner, like maybe see if you can just get like Bigsby thrown into a deal. You get the handcuff. That's always nice. I do like Bigsby as a player, even though he gets like crapped on a lot. But yeah, in terms of the Jags backfield, I mean, oddly, I mean, I guess it's the logical conclusion is like, okay, wheels up for Travis Etienne, but the where my mind goes in Dynasty is like it might be wheels up for Tootin at some point. It might not happen right away, but I'm definitely that much more excited about Tootin now. So yeah, we talked about off camera that what we would pay for Tootin, like we'd be willing to give that like mid to late contender second and some kind of like throw in, that's not too significant to get Tootin because the upside seems massive. He's just so explosive. The Jags GM, in the interview talked about like he's going to change our offense. So I don't know when it's going to happen. It's not guaranteed to happen anytime this year, but I feel like at some point before the season's over, like he's going to be unleashed. It could be an injury, like who knows what. Maybe he just gets in there, takes one to the house, and then all of a sudden, okay, we're not taking him off the field now. Like a lot of different scenarios, but we love Tootin in Dynasty.
Yeah, that's basically word for word exactly my Dynasty outlook on Tootin. On ETN, if you own him, congratulations. You have the Jags starting running back.
Yeah.
For now, this is one thing to point out there. He has a very tough matchup, projected from whatever, PFF, all that stuff, and fantasy last year.
Right.
Week 3 on. So, if that concerns you at all, you're on the edge. Maybe you play out a hot week 2, and maybe you're trying to sell. That's up to you. Also, really important to note, the Panthers defense has given up 200 plus yards in each of the last 5 matchups. Of course, going into last season, they didn't really improve their defense, it looks like, and everything we can tell so far. So, very important to note, though, for ETN, who got the bulk of the work. So, if you got him, you're really, really excited, especially in redraft. I'm way more excited in redraft to have him and just ride him out in redraft, pretty much, would be my initial reaction. In Dynasty,
if you have ETN in Dynasty, or would you just cash out if you don't really need him? He's just like excess.
Yeah, if I have a really strong lineup and he's still like the start set guy for me. I know he's got this tough schedule. I know I'm not the biggest ETN guy. I got to put that out there to begin with.
Yeah. And
I'm looking for a way to just sell at what might be his highest point or on close to his highest point, right? I mean, it's going to be hard for him to get much higher than, again, you could ride it out one more week. Might feel like you can really get a big price for him. But again, I'm going to the Fannon guys. I'm seeing if it makes sense for my roster to go to these hot rookies, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But what I think is really important to note here with ETN, again, just in between the ETN Tootin combo here, we don't know what to expect from Tootin. He's going to get more work. He is exactly what you're looking for, like to take over from ETN, that big play. He can kind of do it all. He's freaking awesome. I want him in every league. I'm going to buy him up still high. And the ETN, though, let's think back to 2023 and 2022. Dan, you bought him in 2023 in this, I don't know, or no, you sold, did you buy him and sell him? You sold him.
I sold him for a first, I think it was 2 years out, basically.
Yeah. And
right before he exploded in 23, right before it was week 4 or whatever it was.
Exactly. But then over time in 2020, he started out the first half of the season as one of the best running backs, and he ended awful. And that also happened, I believe, in 2022, the year prior. We have seen him get banged up. Again, he got injured in week 6 last year with a hamstring. Wasn't really good anyways before that, but really, really tailed off after that. So it's been a common theme, right? If it happens once, it happens twice, that's one thing. It's happened every single year. He missed his rookie year with the ACL. Right. There is a clear injury history with him, and not only that, but it seemed to hinder his play even when playing through it. So I'm not predicting that's a guarantee. It's something I'm considering as an ETN and a Tootin owner. And I think it's a perfect storm for Tootin's ability to come in over the course of the year. It's why I'm really excited for him. So
if you have ETN and you don't need him, trade him for Tootin plus. Can you get Tootin in a third, something like that? Tootin in a fun throw-in. Oh, how about Tootin and Kayshon Boutte, someone like that? We'll have to talk about Boutte on the next stream. He's kind of a fun player that had a good week 1. What do you think? Are there any other questions in the chat here that we gotta answer before we sign off here. Let's see. Seb says, Blake, is TJ Hawkinson worth starting over Kelsey? You're the V Queen fan? Oh, Vikings?
It's
Yeah.
we're starting off with Kelsey. I mean, dude, like that, like I don't even know how to answer that, right? Like every Viking until however many minutes left in the fourth quarter was, I mean, they had like one catch each. They were awful, and then he lit it up. So like, that's a big question mark. It's gonna be an easier matchup against Atlanta. Yeah, over Kelsey, dude. Like that's also the same thing. Like everyone got hurt, and still Kelsey had two catches. If you were watching the game, his second catch came off a designed awesome play call, a fake screen, wide open. I could have scored that touchdown. Like seriously. So look, I'm probably just playing the better player in TJ
Yeah,
Hawkinson.
for Hawkinson, like, I mean, 1 week isn't going to
Yeah.
change, what we thought going into the season. He's more in his prime. Like, he should be
Yeah.
really good this year. Don't sweat it.
Yeah.
Start hot.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I go. So
Then we got Yee Yeet says, talking to Seb, he says, what makes you say that, and how you feel starting Terry against your team. So, I don't know. I hate to close it off before Seb gives an answer here. So I don't know if we want to wait on that, but
well,
I don't know.
here's my question for you, because we're talking about ETN. It's like, what do you think, like, you would need to pay for ETN if someone's interested in getting him? And again, I don't even want to say, by the way, that like I'm not interested in buying ETN completely. If you need him, he might be a really appealing guy to you that you can just kind of buy on the way up. To me, it's like I made my bets in the offseason on Tootin. I'm fine changing my mind, but like I'm just not gonna chase my own tail, is the term we used.
Yeah.
If I personally, with the ways I've built my teams, my portfolio teams for Dynasty, I've lost on that bet. And honestly, if I'm gonna buy him, let me like get more evidence that he really is that dude, and
Yeah.
I'm willing to buy it like later and just be wrong, because I do think he's gonna be good. So.
I think he'll be good too, for as long as he's healthy, for
Yeah.
as long as he holds off Tootin. I mean, there's some unknown there, some unpredictability. It's hard to say exactly. But yeah, I am happy if I have ETN, and I mean, he could certainly take advantage of being that running back in the Liam Cohen offense.
Yeah.
So you're definitely excited if you have him, but yeah, I mean, depending on the format, and yeah, especially in Dynasty, like I wouldn't be afraid to cash out, because like the last thing I want to do is buy high or like hold value that I don't really need if I have a bunch of other running backs on a player that has one big game against like one of the worst run defenses. So, I mean, it does seem kind of like an obvious sell high if you don't need them.
Exactly. That's what it is. But if you need them, yeah, I don't blame you.
Just be happy you have them.
Yeah,
Like you don't have to do anything with them. Just be happy you own them.
Exactly. Yeah, I think people will have like wide varying stuff. That's just like our opinion on that. And also, I did go back to actually watch the runs. Like again, a lot of it was he looked really good, making the right reads on all those runs. But again, you're seeing this. The holes were opening up. There was, rarely any pressure at the line of scrimmage. He just had all the room in the world to work with. So again, hard to exactly know what to do with that information. It was a bad run defense, and he looked good with it. Also, career high run of 71 yards. I had no idea. I would have figured he had something bigger than that. So,
okay,
fun fact for you.
Yeah. And it looks like Seb answered, and he says, let's see, I'm facing the same decision in one league. For me personally, after seeing our defense and the way we held St. Brown is why I'll strongly consider it, referring to starting Terry? Yeah, okay. Fair enough. So I think we're going to wrap it up there. One last update, Film Club. We've kind of pushed that to the side. Like I've gotten a little busy, so I actually didn't get around to watching Vanilla Sky yet. But
I did.
Oh
boy!
It sounds like you have some thoughts on it. So yeah, I got to rewatch it. I'm going to do that soon. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do with Film Club like during the season, because it's probably going to be a little tougher to keep up with it. But I still don't want to just like throw it to the wayside, because I have absolutely loved talking about movies. And if you're new to the channel, just basically a fun little thing we added where like everyone can like watch the same movie and we like talk about it. I mean, sometimes once a week, sometimes it's a little longer. But in any case, we will get around to that eventually. But any initial thoughts, Blake, about like during the season, how you want to manage Film Club?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see with how the schedule, everything's going. I know you're gonna be
Yeah.
getting busy here, so
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. We could try. Maybe it becomes like a once every 2 week thing,
Yeah,
and
or even like once a month. I mean,
yeah,
like, wouldn't be like the worst thing in the world. But as long as we keep it going, but we are
exactly.
going to keep it going. It's been a ton of fun. So if you do want to participate, just watch Vanilla Sky. Yeah, there are sites where you can just like stream it for free. What's the one called again?
Yeah, fmovies.llc.
fmovies.llc. So yeah,
Yeah, it's
check
on
that
it's
out.
on Netflix in Canada at least too, though. So
Oh, okay, awesome. Yeah, so check out Netflix. It might be there as well. So yeah, watch that. We will review it soon, and yeah, we will stick with Film Club. So yeah, just want to give a quick update on that. But thank you everyone for
yeah.
joining us. Like the engagement and support was just like awesome to see today. So
Wait, hold, stop the count. We
okay,
got we got Brendan. We got one last question we'll answer because
okay,
there's a
let's do
brand new
it.
guy, Brendan, and he says start two, JMO, Javante, Debo.
Yeah. So talk about like week one heroes. Yeah,
Yeah,
Javante
JMO's in
Williams.
there for me no matter what. You like
Yeah.
100%.
Because at home, I mean, JMO's a lot. JMO's better at home. Goff's better at
Yeah.
home. Do not sweat. It's just a weird one game at Lambeau. Doesn't matter.
He could have had 5 points the last 4 games. I don't care. I'm putting JMO in there,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to catch that big week winning
Yeah,
performance.
just as a general rule, you start JMO at home. Just do it.
Yeah, there you go. As the Lions fan, I would listen to him.
Yeah.
And between Javante and Debo, look, Javante came off 2 touchdowns. I mean, here's a stat for you. He hasn't ran for over 90 yards since his rookie season. So, I mean, he's basically just a touchdown merchant. If you think against the Giants, that's an awesome matchup, and he can repeat that, get his 50 yards, a couple catches, a touchdown or two, you could certainly put him in there. Debo had a really, really strong outing, though, especially if it's full PPR. No doubt, I'm putting Debo in. Half PPR, a little bit closer. I'm still leaning Debo myself. But what do you think, Dan? Any?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was like totally distracted. You brought that by me again?
I just said basically I lean Debo in half or full over Javante
Oh,
Williams.
over Javante Williams.
Yeah. Do you have a lean there?
What is the matchup for the Cowboys?
Giants.
Oh, playing the Giants. Okay. God, I mean, it's tempting just because like just the volume for Javante Williams and
Yeah.
ability to score touchdowns on a good offense. I do think the Cowboys will be better in general. Like Lamb had a bunch of drops and just wasn't like a great game touchdown. So
Yeah.
not necessarily going to do that every week. I mean, that was sort of like my inclination first looking at it, but you're more leaning Debo.
I'm more leaning Debo, especially again with this. I don't know with this Packers thing. Just the way they use them. I mean, 10 targets
Yeah.
coming out of the slot. I lean them. It's Thursday night. It's fun. If it's full
Yeah.
PPR, it's no question for me.
Yeah, gosh, it's tough because I weirdly think that could be a high scoring game on Thursday. So tough to disagree with you there, but my initial instinct was go with Javante Williams. So
Okay.
I guess I'll say that. So
Split
sorry to
count?
leave you with a
Yeah.
split decision there, but go with your gut. If you're having fun, just start Debo on Thursday, especially if you're watching the game.
Yeah. Fun factor: Debo half PPR, and if you're split half PPR, I'll even say I think Javante is a completely fine start over Debo. I'm just buying the fun and the Debo
Yeah.
week one. So
Yeah,
I think
definitely don't hate that. But yeah, I didn't realize half PPR. In that case, I'll even more firmly say Javante Williams for me. So
Yeah.
go with your gut there.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely hated end the stream with 17 watching, but look, if you're interested in catching this again, for number one, you can rewatch the episode if you just joined.
Yeah.
Lots of great Dynasty and redraft talk throughout, and we're gonna be hitting it back again before the game. Then it sounds like.
Yeah, maybe like an hour before the game or like something like
Yeah.
that. We'll kind of do like a little pregame show, and we'll finish talking about all the interesting players from week one.
Yeah.
The hot ones, the duds, anything that we missed. We'll cover it in that final hour there before week 2 kicks off.
Yeah, exactly. Check in. We'll probably aim hour and a half before.
Something like that. Yeah, hour and a half. Yeah.
Yeah. So lots to get to still.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, this is awesome stream. Thank you everyone again. Yeah, definitely subscribe and we will stream again tomorrow.